Yo, have you had your dose of pep today? No? Don't worry. I got you. Let's go. What's up, my people? Pep Squad, how you doing? How y'all doing out there? Welcome to episode 18 of the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and the mission of this podcast is to cheer you on and to coach you up, and we do that in a number of ways. Number one, by coming to you every Monday with a new episode. Happy Monday, y'all. Let's get this week popping. And we also produce digital content for you every week. You can find us on @_JB Speaks on Instagram. And now you can find us at Pep Talk Pod on TikTok. That's right, we're on TikTok now. Again, I'm not dancing, so don't get your hopes up. We're not dancing, but we're bringing the pep and the encouragement in every way that we know how. We are glad to do it because that is the thing that brings me joy and passion in life. Now, the last 2 weeks we have been in a series where I have been talking to men, and this series has been called For Men and the People Who Love Us. And we've talked about a couple of things, man. We've talked about men, why it's important that we're vulnerable, right? And then last week we talked about how we derive our sense of self and basically where we get our identities from and how dangerous it is to base our identities on things that behave like funhouse mirrors. You know, they stretch us, they don't make us look like how we really do. So things like our jobs, our relationships, our finances, all of those things, those cannot be the bedrocks of how we see ourselves and where we derive our worth and our value from. I told you that we were going to come back this week and we were going to talk about communication and relationships, and I would probably have ended up splitting those things, but I'm going to always keep it 100% with you. I'm going to always keep it a buck, okay? This week, y'all, I think I've told you that I have a senior. We have a senior, my wife and I have a senior in the house. Whew, man, it hits hard having a senior in the house, man. And I love that girl, man. She's my heart, she's my soul. And this was a busy week for her, which makes it a busy week for mom and dad because she is a really accomplished, amazing dancer. And so the school that she attends has its own dance company, the Gallery in Motion Dance Company, under the direction of Miss Stephanie Larangera. They are amazing, and they put on a show on Friday called The Four Elements, y'all. Woo! That was unlike anything I have ever seen before. Even on a professional level, it was just the creativity and the storytelling of it was incredible. So she had practices at night, right? And then it was also senior prom weekend, y'all. My oldest went to her first prom last night with her friends. And so, you know, I did their pictures and they went out to eat. Then I went to the prom last night and took pictures and actively tried to stay out of the way. Y'all know Coach Jay is a dad, right? But I stayed out of her way all night while I was taking pictures of the prom and everything. And so it made for a really busy week. And I just didn't have the time to sit and to focus on scripting out and writing down everything that I wanted to say about an episode. So men, I am sorry. People who love us, who were looking for that episode, I am sorry. I take responsibility and accountability for not coming to you today with another episode for the guys, but we're going to get back to it. But I figured that I didn't want to take the week off. And this probably won't be an episode that's as long as the other episodes because I'm going to do something different. Something that I've thought about, and this is probably going to be more along the avenue of a micro episode, because this past week I did an Instagram reel where the basis of it was basically no turning back. And it stuck with me. And it's done really well on Instagram. It has over 1,500 views and, about 150 likes. People are really resonating with it. And I'm resonating with it as well. So in this micro episode of the Pep Talk podcast, I want to come back and I want to circle back to that topic, no turning back. And I'm just going to talk to you just out of the passion of my heart for you, to see you win, to see your dreams come to fruition. I want to talk to you from the topic of no turning back, and I'm going to do that right after this break. This is episode 18 of the Pep Talk podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay. Jam to the music, people. Jam to the music. Be right back. All right, we're back. Episode 18 of the Pep Talk podcast. And again, y'all, I'm so thankful for everybody who listens, everybody who emails. Y'all, I love you. Thank you for your feedback. Please keep them coming. Keep the ratings and reviews coming. Keep telling your friends and loved ones, sharing it out on social media, word of mouth. Y'all, I appreciate all of it. All of it. Now, today, I'm telling you, and I know there is somebody out there who needs to hear this exact message at this exact moment in time. Don't turn back. Do not, under any circumstance, turn back. Now, here's the thing. I can tell you this because I've been that turn back person. I've been that person that when things get hard, or when I look out in the distance and I see a hard time coming, I want to go back to what I know. I want to go back to what I believe is safe. I want to go back and reflect on the good old days and the good old times that I had in those good old days. But here's the thing, y'all. We often look at our past through rose-colored lenses. Like, even if our past was horrible, we will pull the good things out of that and we'll want to go back to that, right? Our past could be filled with misery and heartache, but we'll remember the ice cream that we might have had at the end of every night. And we'll say, oh, I remember the good old days. Like, this difficult season up ahead, I don't want to go through it. I can just fall back on the good old days. But what we don't often stop to realize is that the good old days were often not the good old days. Like, sit back and just think about those times in your life that you really think were good. As you're walking up this mountain, climbing this mountain to success, you look down into the valley. What do you really see? Take the filters off. I promise you, what you say are the good old days were not actually the good old days. You know why? Because you were pretty far from becoming who you are becoming right now. And see, here's the problem with turning back. When you find yourself in a season of life where you want to turn back, it is because it is indicative, it is a signal that you are close to becoming. If you never take the steps to get better, if you never take the steps to climb out of the valley, if you never take the steps to get unstuck in your life, you become stagnant. When you become stagnant, you don't just sit still, folks. That's a lie. When you become stagnant, you don't just stay where you are. You continue to slide back. And you keep sliding and you keep sliding, you keep sliding. So now, what may have only taken you a few steps to get there will now take you 10 more, 20 more, 1 month, 2 months. That's why it's so important that when you are making progress, when we are making progress toward the dream, when we have the passion for it and we have the strategy in hand and we've been praying for the people to surround us to help this dream come to pass and those people are there, you cannot turn around and think about what used to be or what should have been. Your energy, your focus, your attention in this season of life has to be on where you're going and who you're becoming. And here's one of the most important reasons why. When you are progressing and you turn around and you begin to fantasize about the life that was down in the valley, you're letting yourself down. And you're telling yourself that you don't think that you are worthy of elevation. You don't think you're worthy of ascension. You don't think you're worthy of that dream that you have or that dream life. You don't think you're worthy of being in a position to give back to everybody who's given back to you. So you're since you're not worthy of it, at some point that voice inside of you is going to quit telling you to elevate because you're not listening. Right? I mean, how many times are you going to listen to somebody who is actively ignoring the advice that you were trying to give them? You work the exact same way. When you stop listening to yourself, you begin to ignore the advice that you're trying to give to elevate yourself. You begin to ignore the wisdom and the wise thoughts. You begin to ignore the warnings that come from the innermost parts of you. They quit coming because you're not listening anyway. And when you want to turn back, you are sabotaging your life. So I don't know who I'm talking to out there right now in this episode. I don't know who needs to hear this and listen. If you're listening to this, you know somebody who needs to hear it. I need you to share this message with them. There is somebody out there who it's gotten too hard. The degree program has gotten too hard. The business plan has gotten too hard. It's not looking like the way that you thought that it would look. The marriage has gotten too hard. The relationship has gotten too hard. Beating the addiction has gotten too hard. So now I just want to fall back into the quote unquote good old days where everything was ha ha and he and he, not knowing that in the good old days I was crying because I so wanted to be out of this. I so wanted my life to be different, but now that you're ascending, now that it's getting hard, you're thinking about moving back. Don't let yourself down like that. You deserve better. That's why we come on here on Mondays to remind you that you deserve better and you deserve to quit letting yourself down. You deserve to quit letting yourself off the hook. You deserve to quit allowing yourself to throw in excuses and to quit throwing in the towel. You deserve better. And until you demand better from yourself, you will be forever looking back to the quote unquote good old days, and you'll quit walking up that mountain, and soon you will discover that you have made a home in the valley. And at the end of your life, you're going to be wondering, why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? I don't want you to have those regrets. I don't want you to make the mistake of selling yourself short. I don't want you to look back at your life and wonder why you never chased after that dream. I don't want you looking back on your life and wondering why you never pursued that plan. I don't want you looking back at your life wondering what if. Y'all, listen, the what if is right now. It's what you have in front of you right now. And turning back is the worst thing. Even turning to look back, that's the worst thing you can do. I know you've heard this time and time again, that when you're running a race, the worst thing you can do is turn to look back at who's behind you. Because what happens? You will most likely get caught, possibly even lapped. You have to have a clear vision, clear sight on where you're heading. And once you have that vision, if things in your life are serving that vision, even though it's hard, if you keep your eyes on the goal, keep your eyes on the prize, you don't have the energy, you don't have the time to be turning back, looking at who's behind you or what's behind you or the parties you used to go to or the stuff you used to drink and the other stuff you used to do. When you have a goal, you focus on the goal and everything in your life will begin to align to move you toward that goal. I've told you before. Y'all, I'm hype about this. I've told you before that when you set an intention in your life, your mind begins to look for every possible pathway to get you there. Your mind begins to do what you're telling it to do. When you are focused on moving backwards, your mind will find every opportunity to move you backwards. Do you hear me? Your mind will do what you program it to do. Program your mind to not look back. When you wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is not the turn back season. I'm not turning back. I'm not looking back. I'm moving forward. I'm not going back. I'm moving ahead. That's a song. Yes, I'm here to declare to you all things are new. I'm not going back. Make that one of your affirmations when it gets hard. And I know it gets hard, y'all. I know it gets hard. And I know that giving up and going back can be one of the easiest things to do. But it's also one of the most detrimental things that you could ever do to yourself. And you deserve better. We talked about accountability a few episodes ago. You have to be accountable to yourself. You have to be a good steward of the gifts, talents, and abilities and the calling and the purpose that you're walking in. You've got to be a good steward of it. You've got to be accountable to it. You've got to hold yourself responsible for it. And you cannot allow yourself to fail yourself, because you won't just be failing you, you'll be failing those who you were destined to reach with the story of your life. And let me add one more thing about this whole idea of not turning back. You've heard me say this before, that you are 1 degree away. And this comes from this whole idea, right? That water, freezes at 32 degrees Celsius. It boils at 100 degrees Celsius, right? So at 99 degrees Celsius, between 99 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius, something happens in that water to change its state. Just like from 33 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius, something happens in the water to change its state. Often the times when it feels the easiest to give up is the moment where you're actually really, really close to the breakthrough that will get you over the hump of whatever challenge you're facing. I need you to keep it in the back of your mind that you're only 1 degree away. You are 1 degree away from everything changing. So I don't care if the money's not flowing right now. You keep believing, you keep working, but don't you dare turn back. I don't care, if the marriage is not working right now. Get some therapy. You're 1 degree away, right? You're 1 degree away. I don't care if the business is not working right now. You keep working it. You keep advertising it. You keep learning. You keep grinding it because you're 1 degree away. Don't you turn back. Don't turn back. And listen, if you find yourself just wanting to turn back, just shoot me a message. Shoot me a message. I'm a coach. But even if it's not coaching that you need, if you need a word of encouragement, if you just need somebody to listen, I got you. That's what we do in the Pep Squad. That's what this community is. We are holding one another accountable, but we're also lifting one another up. Maybe I need to start a Facebook group. What y'all think about a Facebook group? Anyway, I'm off topic. So that's the episode. I told you it was a micro episode. It wasn't going to be as long as they usually are. And as we get ready to sign off, y'all, hear my heart. I want you to win, but I can't want you to win more than you want you to win. And when you are focused on winning, then you will be too focused on winning to be focused on turning around and going back. You'll be too focused on winning to give up and just turn around and go back. You'll be too focused on winning what's ahead of you to even turn around and look at what's behind you, because what is before you is greater than what was ever behind you. Your future is too bright for you to be dependent upon your past and looking at the good old days. Y'all, this is episode 18 of the Pep Talk Podcast. It's been episode 18 of the Pep Talk Podcast. It's your coach, Coach Jay. And I just wanted to encourage you today because I love you. And as you go about your week, I want you to keep this in the back of your mind. And when you feel those voices and you feel those instances telling you to look back, to go back, just tell them no, because you're in the Pep Squad and you've been cheered on and you've been coached up on this Monday. So it's time to go forth and conquer and prosper this week, y'all. Listen, you can catch us again on IG @_JB Speaks. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there. Or if you're listening on Black with No Chaser Radio, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., the Monday Drive Time show. We love you all. Keep leaving those ratings. Keep leaving those reviews. Keep sending emails to let us know that you're liking what we're doing and what you like about our approach. Y'all, we love you. Y'all be blessed. Keep it light. Keep it love. And keep it pepe. We'll see you next time. Y'all be blessed.